Katoa. Welcome everyone along to the 2021 New Zealand Secondary Schools Cross Country Champs. We were back with the junior boys 4,000 metres and the para boys 2,000 metres. So this is the two-lapper. My name is Hayden Sherman and joined with me is Angie Petty, athlete coach, and she's got a whole bunch of athletes taking part today, so she's been very generous with her time to come and join me in the comments booth. And what beautiful conditions for cross-country running, Angie.
Oh yes, it's certainly not what us track runners like to run in, but it's keeping them tough, and it's the same for everybody, so yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, exactly. And it adds that element of adventure where you can almost put aside the racing element of it, and it's just like, okay, let's just take on the weather elements and have a bit of fun out there.
Yeah, that's right. I think the placings might be a little bit different than it had been if it had been dry, but that's real cross country, isn't it? So Sam, my husband, is British, and he said this is just like a typical British cross country.
It's beautiful. There's nothing like those scenes of all the athletes coming back covered in mud. And we just had the junior girls race just earlier. If you missed that, we had Ava Sutherland from Wellington Girls taking out the win just ahead of her teammate Amy McCarty, and then Louise Brabin from Wanganui just down the road. So we've got 748 athletes competing today from 110 different schools, or 130 different schools. And this course in Hawera is a good one. It's a traditional course. They've been running this course for decades. And this is the 2K course, so this was recorded earlier, so this is when it was a lot drier. So you go down the back of the race course, and then there's this little dip. You come onto these sort of flat farm paddocks and head out into that pink sector, which we're heading through now. We've moved the cows on from there, so don't worry about that. But being a farm, it makes it a little bit more bumpy underfoot. It's not park grounds or a golf course. And then this is the little tricky bit. I've called it Cow Trough Corner, and then you go up to Pine Tree Hill. So probably the more technical part of the course.
Certainly very muddy now.
And then there's another little muddy section just behind the cow sheds there. And you did a little recce of the course with your team yesterday. Tell us about the sort of things that you were talking to your athletes about yesterday.
Yeah, so the 2K course is obviously quite different to the 3K course, not having that hospital hill, but it's a nice wee course. Nothing too crazy, no massive hills or anything. Certainly areas though that you want to be careful with the mud and the twists and everything. And we got them to practice over the barrier. Of course, they'll go over that barrier twice, one each lap, and then through that muddy part. So yeah, we just kind of went through how to get a good corner line and get out hard and stick to doing the absolute best and digging deep.
And this is one of those classic days where if you're one of those athletes that just trains when the sun shines, this is kind of where you get found out, because you want to have done a few sessions in bad weather and in the mud. Yeah. Have you done any specific cross-country, found some mud and found some off-road terrain to train in? Yeah,
we train at good old Horsell Quarry in Christchurch, is one of our places that we've been based at quite a bit through the winter. And then, we're kind of changing well into Ascot Park, where they had their Canterbury secondary schools as well. So no, the kids are pretty good at the bumps, and yeah, they're pretty tough. So the cold weather shouldn't hopefully affect them too much.
Yeah. And probably the biggest challenge is just keeping warm on the start line. You can see everyone just running on the spot, hopping, keeping everything nice and warm. A lot of their team captains will have their jerseys tucked away.
Yeah, so my husband Sam should be out there taking a couple of tops from our boys that we coach in this race. So great. We've been doing that with the other athletes before, and just last minute make sure they stay warm until they possibly can.
And it is one of the logistical challenges of coming here as a team and keeping warm, keeping your athletes dry, setting up a little marquee, having lots of umbrellas and blankets and changes of clothes.
Yes, kids seem to sometimes think they're superheroes and don't need any layers, so we've been trying to be stricter on that.
Yeah. So we've got 120 athletes starting in this race, the junior boys 4K. So again, it's 2 laps of 2K. Names that are standing out to me, we've got Elliot Pugh. He's the winner of the Waikato Bay of Plenty Cross Country Schools Champs from a couple of weeks ago, coached by Craig Kirkwood, part of that great stable there from Tauranga. Hayden Wild, Sam Tanner, both soon to be Olympians. And here they go off in the junior boys 4K, 4,000 metres. And some of the other names, Angus Sevier from Cashmere High School. He came first in the Year 9 boys road race last year. So he's moved up into the junior grades now. James McLeay from Southland Boys High School. He was second in that race, in the road race in Year 9. Max Polland from St. Patrick's. He was second in the junior road race last year. Daniel Prescott from St. Thomas of Canterbury. Luca Everett. Another name to keep an eye out for from Wellington College, Alfie Steedman from Westlake Boys, Finn Harrison. So there are some of the names from that we've kind of just stood off the page from the list of 120 athletes. We'd love to read them all out to you, but that will take up the entire race. And so if you want to know who's running in which race, you can jump on the NZSSAA website, New Zealand Secondary Schools Athletics Association website, and you'll be able to see all the start list there. So it looks like one of our athletes in blue making a good solid move right from the start, stamping his mark as they go through. You can see those puddles on the course really getting deep.
Can't quite see who that is, but I can certainly see Angus Sevier's right up there in that top 10, and Daniel Prescott right up there as well with the cross on his back. Can't quite see who the other boys are at the moment, but they all look to be running really strong.
Yeah, so you can see how persistent and heavy that rain is. It just keeps on coming down. We've had persistent rain for probably about 2 weeks in the region, so certainly well hydrated is the course. And so that's number 818. And that is one of the names I didn't read out before. So from St. Kentigern's, Joshua Gordon Glass. So he's running well, Glassford, sorry. Running well at the start, really opening things up.
Yeah, looking very strong.
And it's often the way with the junior ranks. You never really know who's been doing what. We mentioned earlier about development ages, like particularly boys at this age are growing like half a foot a year.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's hard to keep track of who's where in terms of the pecking order. But at the moment, Joshua Gordon Glassford running really well from St. Kent's. You can see that good high heel recovery. He looks like he must be wearing some decent length spikes to keep good traction on the turf.
Yeah, I definitely think the 12mm spikes are pretty much a need today. I think some of them went for 9s, but maybe even 12s, but possibly even 15 mils. It's so crazy out there. So no, he's obviously confident with his lead, going out there hard and making the boys work from the gun.
I've seen lots of different techniques to deal with the mud of cross country, from spraying cooking oil on the bottom of your shoes to keep the mud off, to taping up your laces so they don't come undone.
Yeah.
And maybe that pack's just reeling them in. I don't know if it's the camera angle there, but potentially Joshua just getting pulled in a little bit there.
So that Daniel Prescott may have gone to the front from Christchurch. Those boys, some of them might not be wanting to take the lead early on, knowing that they've got the extra K compared to the younger ones.
And we saw that in the girls' race just earlier, where the athletes that went out strong at the start just faded a little bit, and so you do want to keep. There's plenty of time in a cross country race. It's often you've been looking forward to this moment for months and training for it, and it's often tempting to just get out of the gates very, very hard, but you've got plenty of time to make up ground.
Yeah, that is Daniel Prescott at the front there at the moment. Actually, the other boys are coming right alongside him. Angus Sevier. Angus has just gone to the front now. You can tell his unique running style. Angus is over the hurdle first, and then Daniel and a couple of those other boys. Angus is there with the red hair.
All right, yeah, so it's number 761 from Cashmere. So Angus looking nice and good over that hurdle. Great to see a hurdle in a cross-country race. So they're going to go around Cow Trough Corner, and that's probably the most technical section of the course, where you drop down. It's a significant hill dropping down, and there's no grass on that section of the course. It's just mud.
Pure mud. Yeah. The kids are coming off with their legs completely covered.
Yeah, and then they grind up the hill on the other side, Pine Tree Hill we're calling it. Yeah. And this gets onto a traditional little sort of farm section.
Yeah.
And is it Joshua back in the lead now? But certainly nice and grouped up. We've got some Wanganui athletes, we've got some Westlake boys athletes. So those traditional singlets that we see at all these running events throughout the year, featuring prominently Wellington College. So remember, if you see your team, be sure to jump in that comment section and cheer them along, everyone.
Just saw Fonts Carroll and Josh Luce going through from Christchurch. I'm a bit biased to knowing all the Christchurch athletes.
Will Allett as well from Christchurch boys going through. So all these boys doing well on their first lap of 2, so 2K. So it'll be interesting to see kind of where they split in terms of the first lap. I would be very surprised if they get close to 6 minutes. You can probably add 30 to 60 seconds per kilometre onto what you'd do on a normal dry course with the conditions out there.
Yeah, certainly. That's like on the track you might add a little bit for this rain, but the surface makes all that difference. It's certainly very wet underfoot.
And so Angie, you've run a few New Zealand secondary schools champs. You said you only missed one in your high school career. Yeah,
I missed one for the World Juniors, I think when I was like year 11, but did the other 4 years. And who's that in the front?
Yeah, I think it's Elliot Pugh there from Bethlehem College. So he was the winner of the Waikato Bay of Plenty secondary schools champs just recently.
Awesome. Angus there in third.
So a little group of 4 runners there just working together as they come through. Supposed to get the bell. I'm not sure if we're going to have a bell, but they're going to come up to the last lap. Kind of like your own specialty, the 800, where you just got 2 laps to go. So it's a group of 4 and then another group of 5 athletes not too far behind them. So it's really interesting racing here. It could come down to really any of those 9 athletes. It's up for grabs. So this is the turn point. So they're through 2K now in a little over 7 minutes. So that's about as you'd expect. So if this was dry and on road, you'd expect these guys to be running a tick over 3-minute Ks. And here they're running about 3:30 Ks. So nice and quick given the conditions and the course. So they're back onto lap 2, and if I'm a coach giving them any tips, this is where the business end, this is where the strategy comes into it. You've conserved and got yourself into position in lap 1, and this is when you get ready to make your move. And speaking of that, Angie, what sort of moves would you be recommending people to make? Are there any kind of key areas where it makes sense to kind of lay the hammer down and get that psychological break on your
I think you really want to work that 3rd K or 2nd and 3rd K, because you'll probably find most guys will have something left in that last K because you've got the adrenaline of seeing the finish and getting close. So I think the middle of the race is often the hardest part. I know for me as an 800 metre runner on the long cross-country races, that would be where I'd sometimes drop off a little bit. So I know my lap splits in a 15 or a 3K or anything, it's always the middle part. So I think it's the same for most people if you're used to the shorter stuff. So they'll be having to work really hard now.
And often with cross-country, that little break just before the top of a hill or just before a corner, and if you can break before that and then pull away, and the athlete behind you gets around the corner and sees you tearing off in the distance, can be a good little psychological move. But all these little things these athletes will be thinking about.
Yeah, it's certainly a mental game, isn't it? They're all looking like they're bunching up again together, so no one particularly pulling away yet.
So 829, that's Max Polland from St. Patrick's Stream, just out on the outside. So 5 athletes at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like that next pack is starting to break off a wee bit. Daniel's trying to stay attached to them. There's a sheep watching them there as well.
Isn't it great? You've got like the cow water trough and then you've got some livestock in the foreground. This is beautiful, rural, classic New Zealand cross-country running.
It certainly is. It's not just like going around a school field. This is a real cross-country. A few cow pats along the way.
So is that Daniel there in about 6th place?
Yes, that is. Can see him there. Yeah, Angus is still in the front pack. And then
Interesting, yeah. Max Pollen just running a little bit wider than the others. Maybe that's just to get a clear footing. Running over this farm terrain, there's, you've got hoof marks that you've got to dodge, puddles. So often having some clear ground to run in can be a good move. But also running in the pack, the traditional way to save energy, can be useful as well.
That's right, and I think the senior boys will have another 2K from this, so they'll have to try and conserve even more. But certainly good for these junior boys to have this experience while they're young and leading into those senior age group.
So we know we've got 5 athletes in that leading pack, and Angus Sevier, Joshua Gordon-Glassford, Elliot Pugh, Max Polland, and I haven't picked up one of our other athletes. I'm going to try and put a name to that as soon as I can.
Certainly running quite wide there, isn't he, on the side?
Yeah, Max Polland.
Yes,
So we just had a little glimpse of our para-athlete coming in to finish. So they're doing a 2K course, so 1 lapper. So we'll be winning the para division for this event.
So Angus is in the front now. Looking very strong, using his arms nicely. Good to see.
And it really does, it becomes a full body exercise, doesn't it, when you're battling hills and mud, and you really do need to bring the arms into it, get you driving, keep those legs moving.
That's right.
It's often when that cadence drops is when you start to find yourself sort of bogged down.
Yeah, that's right. These boys starting to do a little bit of extra work maybe in the gym and things at this age, but certainly getting in some good hill reps and all that kind of training and leading into it, I'm sure would have made a big difference for these boys.
So they've rounded Cow Trough Corner, they've come up Pine Tree Hill, and here they come. This will be less than a kilometre to go.
Yeah, I think even less than that.
Maybe, is that a little bit of a break? Angus Sevier pulling away with, was it Finn Harrison? I want to say. I need to confirm. So this is our para-athlete coming through. Got a guide runner helping him through, so well done to a Hutt Valley Harrier athlete there. Brilliant run.
Awesome work.
Tell you what, doing this race if you're visually impaired, that is a challenge and a half, far out, so well done to that athlete. Incredible running as we see all these athletes. They will have a pretty clean run for home now. They're coming into the drier section, apart from that one corner near the cow sheds where it's muddy. I took a photo of it when I went past because it was seriously muddy, and that was before anyone had actually run on it. So this is beautiful conditions. Look at all that mud splattering up, and it's one of those things, if you get back to the finish line and your singlet's still the same colour that you started with, you haven't done it right.
No, that's right. Oh, gosh, I think there'll be a lot of washing going on.
Yeah.
All the teams.
And for some of these athletes, they're going to be back for the relay tomorrow, so you're going to have to do some washing in the next 24 hours. So pulling away here is Angus Sevier from Kashmir. He's really made a big move in that. Probably from about 700 to 400 metres to go. You can see he's got that good high heel recovery, using those arms, as you say. Little check back over his shoulder to see what's happening behind him. But he's looking nice and strong. Good amount of mud sprayed up the back, which means those legs are doing the work.
Amazing racing by Angus. Angus has got a good range right from 400 metres, 815 right up, so he's certainly got that speed at the end of the race, which is good to see.
So about 20 metres back to the next athlete behind him, which I think is Finn Harrison. I'll need to get confirmation on that one. But at the moment it is Angus Sevier with his eyes on a National Secondary Schools title. This is the Junior Boys 4,000 metres 2021 edition. It was supposed to happen last year. We've cancelled it last year. We're back again in the rain here in Hawera. Here he comes, Angus Sevier with 80 metres left to run. He's got about a 15-metre lead at the moment. Yeah, he's going to take the title, puts his hands up. Big win there. And in second base is Elliot Pugh from Bethlehem College. Great run from Elliot.
Daniel Prescott coming in.
Oh, yeah.
For third place.
Great finish there from
Awesome.
Daniel Prescott.
Nice
So
work.
he was sitting in, 6th or 7th place for a while. This is Max Polland coming in. And then, I missed that one, sorry. All these athletes coming through for the top 10 positions. These are really meaningful positions. We mentioned before we went on air, if you're top 20 at New Zealand secondary schools, you're doing very, very, very well. Reminder to our listeners, my best performance, 216th. So that just puts it into perspective.
I'm hoping it was over 300 that you had, was it?
It was a very big field. And this is where the team points really come into it. So you can see we've had a couple of, like, here's Whanganui Collegiate come through. We've had a couple of their team members already cross the finish line.
Carroll from Christchurch going through.
Good stuff.
Yep, these boys all running very well. And that's right, a lot of the athletes that, continue on to international level, some of them weren't even top 10 in those early years, but a lot were kind of that top 20, so it's a really good sign for these boys finishing up here.
Big sprint finishes.
There's Josh Luce, also in the squad.
Beautiful camera work from our stream shop crew who are out there in the pouring rain, soaking wet, and doing a great job bringing you all of this footage. So there we go, we've just clicked over 16 minutes, where if you're running 4-minute Ks in these conditions over this course, you're doing very well indeed. And here they come, still emptying the tank.
Right, lots of grimaces on the face. It's good to see though. Good they've pushed hard and given it everything. Don't want to leave anything out there. I'm sure they all have memories of this course in many years to come. I still remember my secondary school cross-country nationals, and yeah, this is certainly a course to remember.
Loving it. Absolutely great. I talked to a few of the athletes beforehand, and we're saying, are you up for the big slide across the finish line?
There's Angus raising the arms. He's absolutely over the moon to take that win.
So, yeah, this is a big result for Angus.
Yeah, it is a big result, yeah. He's been running well for quite a few years, but I think he's really coming even, going faster and faster all the time as he continues to grow and put in more and more training. He's got a big range. He's an exciting one to watch for the future. And I think he's run about a 53, 400 maybe already.
Wow.
Getting down to those very low 2 minutes. Yeah, he beat me in a local interclub over a mile, I think it was, earlier in the summer.
You're not supposed to do that to your coach.
Oh, no. Sorry, we don't actually coach Angus.
Oh,
he's in Christchurch though.
Yep.
But no, I thought, gosh, here I am double his age and he's already beating me, but that's all right. So no, very good running.
Yeah, so it was Angus Sevier from Kashmir taking out the win. Elliot Pugh from Bethlehem in second. And then Daniel Prescott. Remind me what school Daniel...
St. Thomas's of Canterbury. Yeah, cool. So he's in our squad, and he's very hard trainer. Very, very proud of him, but obviously not biased because all the boys have done amazing out there today. They've been training so hard for this, leading into it, for months and months, and all their hard work's paid off.
So Angie, for those who are listening, Angie's one of our leading 1500 and 800 metre athletes. And now you've started a good little squad of athletes in Christchurch. How's it feeling sort of making, I don't want to call it a transition, it's an addition to your racing, to be on the other end of it, doing some coaching as well. Are you enjoying that?
Yeah, no, absolutely loving it. Sam and I coach about 50 athletes now in Christchurch. Wow. Probably about 30 of those high school age, a few younger and a few a little bit older. But so I think we had 15 up here this weekend. So some we stayed together and some stayed with their schools up here. But a great bunch of athletes, and they'll get on so well and working so hard to chase their dreams. So it's a real honour to be able to coach the next generation.
Absolutely. You see their athletes dealing with the stitch.
Yes, gosh.
Been there, done that.
Maybe ate a little bit close to it.
Yeah.
It's all learning, isn't it? But getting that timing right when you should eat before you race.
Absolutely. And this sort of age, it's the funny, I call it the stitch years, between about 11 and 15, where you just get random stitches, and they're horrible.
Yeah. I know, and nothing seems to really work. I'd try and hold on to a stick or something.
Yeah. Try and breathe on the left foot strikes and all these little tricks. Well, it's been great having you in the comments booth, and you've got a busy day or busy weekend ahead with a lot of athletes to help on their journeys. And what does this weekend mean? What does this event mean for you? Because in my mind, this is the pinnacle of winter running when you're in your high school years, and Yeah, what does it mean for you?
Yeah, it's a real honour and real special to be here with the kids because, as I say, I did it when I was younger, 4 years out of the high school years, and it's just an event they'll always remember. So it's a real honour to be here with the team and staying together. And it's really cool they've added the relays. We didn't have that when I was younger,
Cool.
so I think that's a real good initiative. But and some of the ones we coach are up the front and some a bit further back. But either way, it's real special for them, and as long as they all do their best. So I'm pretty excited for the next races to come. Got our senior girls on shortly, so Kira Hall's looking really good up there, Rose Dawson and Sequoia Prentice, Rosaria Gibson, but I know there's lots of other fast girls all around the country as well, so it's going to be good.
Senior girls, I've talked to quite a few people who have said the senior girls race is the one in terms of so hard to call, and
it's phenomenal. It's pretty exciting for New Zealand running to be having this crop of girls coming through and running phenomenal times on the track and then doing so well in the cross country too, so some of these girls are going off to the States and over the next year or two, and some will hopefully stay here and see them continue to improve and be racing for New Zealand.
Yeah, trying to keep up with you, Angie.
Well, I'm a bit nervous about them starting to beat me, to be honest, but no, that's good, really.
Well, thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this coverage of this race. Of course, we've got 2 more to go, so don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short break, and then you'll be able to catch the coverage. So thanks, Angie Petty, for joining me, Hayden Sherman, in the booth. We will catch you here shortly for that great senior girls race, which will happen shortly back here in Hawera.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah.